sometimes in the sky.
These are sugar maples. It's a native tree in the eastern and midwestern United States and eastern Canada. There are lots of different kinds of maple trees that have similar colors, and those leaves turn beautiful colors in the fall. But only the sugar maple gives us what we most love: maple syrup. Well, it really doesn't give us the syrup that we put on pancakes and waffles. It gives us the sap, and it takes a lot of patience and a lot of work to make it into syrup. In fact, it takes 40 gallons of sap to make just 1 gallon of maple syrup. But when we get it, it is delicious. In the origin stories of the indigenous people of this area, there's a character whose name is Nanabosho, and he is kind of like Adam from the Christian and Hebrew scriptures. He's the original man, and he has been given the original instructions from the Creator about how to make your way in the world and how to live in harmony with it, and how to thrive. And as he's making his way through the world, he comes across a village of people, and the village is in disarray. The corn hasn't been stockpiled, the gardens aren't tended, children aren't being taken care of. And what he sees is people laying under the sugar maple trees as this sweet syrup drips into their mouth. They're so intoxicated with this sugary elixir that they have forgotten the original instructions. They aren't taking care of the world. They aren't paying attention to themselves, or one another, or their Creator. And so Nanabosho goes down to the river and draws out huge buckets of water, and goes and he pours them into the maple trees, diluting that sweet syrup until there's just sap. It has just a little bit of sweetness. And today's sap, it flows just like water, and it has just a hint of sweetness to remind the people that there's a gift in these trees, but there's also responsibility for one another. To make what is really sweet takes work.
Jesus of Nazareth had a vision from God, from his Father, about the power of love to heal divisions in the world. But that love wasn't an easy love. W.H. Auden is a poet and a Christian, and he says, "Don't tell me that you love me forever. Tell me that you love me on Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. He's saying that love needs to be specific and grounded and local and concrete.
It's just me and the universe surrounding. Our hearts are free and full of wondrous love, wondrous love, wondrous love.
Jesus also challenges our notions about how thick and sweet love can be. It's easy to love those that we agree with, who are in our group, in our tribe, those who have our back. It's good business sense to lend money to those who will repay us, and forming strong allegiances keeps us safe and secure. But this is pretty thin sap that we can find anywhere. The question is, and the challenge is how do we make it thicker and sweeter? This connection and love that we feel with friends and family, it's a real gift. It's like the sap that flows into the bucket. There's gallons and gallons of it. It's literally the lifeblood of trees, just like love runs through us. That love and affection is our lifeblood, and it's kind of sweet. It's pretty sweet at times. It brings a smile to our eyes to see loved ones and friends. But making something sweeter requires work and risk. Jesus is talking to men and women who are living with enemies in their midst. Their soldiers of the Roman army have lived off the work of these occupied people. And they can be forced to work for the soldiers by carrying loads or requisitioning a pack animal to do this. Creditors could literally take the shirt off your back as a repayment of their overdue loan. And Jesus says, love these enemies. We make enemies when we label people lazy, mean, entitled, ignorant, unworthy, dirty. Of course, these are all the things that we don't want to be. And so we create this big difference between us and them. We overcome this mental egoic habit of creating differences by focusing on ourselves, actually, by recognizing the great capacity we have to love, even those who we might think of as enemies or as other. And when we do this, when we show actual love in our actions and deeds, we begin to see them as people, as dynamic beings who change, who are varied, just like we are. We see them no longer just as an enemy. We see them as a brother or a sister.
You know, the first people who are going to taste this kind of sweet love will be those of us who have distilled it and who have shared it. We'll taste of the love that God has for us, that God gives to us even when we're ungrateful or lazy or even wicked, as Jesus says. But we'll taste it. And it takes a lot of work to bring change to the world. It brings a lot of work and love to bring the kind of world that Jesus envisions, that God envisions. And so we do it one step at a time. 40 gallons to get 1 gallon. That takes a lot of patience and a lot of work. But we do it one little bit at a time until everyone is a child of God.
I think of all the traveling that I've done. Think of all the traveling I could do. I could travel on and on and on, travel around in circles till I'm blue. This sort of thought leaves me no despair. It pours me out and fully fills me up. It leads my heart infinitely onward, across a universe abound with wondrous love, wondrous love. Someday the stars will align, and everybody watching turn to one another and be kind.